Alright, here we are with part 2 of this basic router configuration video. This is going to be the lab exercise. If you haven't already, go down to the video description below and download this for yourself so that you can practice. But let's hop right into this. So the purpose of this exercise, perform some basic router configuration. We're going to enable some basic security features, remote management access, and verify that directly connected networks can communicate. So to set up, we need to drag the following devices onto the screen and place them in order from left to right. So we need a desktop computer, grab that out of the end devices. Then a 2960 switch, we'll grab that out of network devices, switches. Then a 4331 router, also network devices but under routers. Another 2960 switch. And then another desktop computer. Okay, and then we're going to put one more desktop computer directly below the router. It could be desktop, it could be a laptop. It'd probably be a laptop in this case, so we'll just go with that. Alright, tasks. Task 1, console into the router from the PC directly below it. So we'll go ahead and we'll use this laptop. We'll grab our connections, grab a console cable, hook that onto the RS-232 of that laptop, and into the USB console port, sorry, onto the console port. USB console port is obviously a USB connection. Then we'll hop into the laptop. We'll go into the desktop of it, into the terminal, accept the default settings, hit OK, and now we are inside of that router. We don't want to perform initial setup. Hit return to get started. Let's move on to the next task. So it says configure a banner. Alright, for that we'll go ahead and get into global configuration mode. And then we'll say banner MOTD. Let's go ahead and delimit this with the AND character. We'll say this is my router's banner. Remember, we got to end that with the same character we started with. Hit enter. Next task. Set the router name to R1, restrict privilege exec mode with a password, make it encrypted in the running config. So we'll go ahead and go host name R1. You can see that change took place right there. Then we'll go enable, and instead of password, we'll use secret so that it's encrypted or not in plain text in the running configuration. And we will just go with Cisco. It's easy to remember. Okay. Perfect. Let's move on to this next step. It says set up a local account with username of Cisco, password of Cisco, and then configure a domain name of practice. Perfect. So username, Cisco, password, Cisco, then IP domain. Wow. If I could spell, right guys? IP domain name, practice. Perfect. Now it says configure the console line to require a username and a password. So if we go into line con 0, short for line console 0, and if we were to say login local, that will require it to log in using the authentication of the local account. Next it says generate a crypto key for use with SSH. So let's hop out of this mode and let's go ahead and go crypto key generate RSA, make it at least 2048 for minimum security. There we go, our keys are generated. Now it says hop in and configure the VTY lines for SSH only and to log in with the local username and password. Let's go into line VTY 0 through 4 so that we're hitting all 5 of those virtual lines. Go ahead and type login local to require that authentication. And we'll go transport input SSH to restrict access to SSH only. Alright, so the next step, step 8, says configure the router to be managed remotely with this IP address on the left interface and this IP address on the right interface. So we haven't defined any of these interfaces yet because we haven't cabled anything. Let's go ahead and take a second to cable this network. Let's go ahead and grab some copper straight throughs from the computer, fast Ethernet 0 into the switch. We'll just put that on fast Ethernet 01. And then let's go from the switch on gig 01 to the router's gig 001. And then on the other side of the router, let's go from gig 000 to that switch's gig 01. And then let's go from the switch fast Ethernet 01 to the computer's fast Ethernet. And then I want to just make a note right here that this interface we gave G001 and this interface we gave G000. That way we won't forget when we're configuring these IP addresses. So now we can hop back in here, and it was saying on the left interface we need 10, 10, 10, 1. So that left interface is G001. Let's hop in, exit out of here, go into interface G001. You want IP address 10.10.10.1 with a subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Make sure that we no shutdown to bring the interface up. See it turned green right there. Now on the right interface, we can go directly from here into that mode by just typing interface G000. What's that IP address again? It says we want to do IP address 20.20.20.1 with the same subnet mask as the last interface. No shut on that one as well. Bring that up. You can see that has turned green as well. Perfect. Now we need to save our changes to the router configuration. Okay, so let's go ahead and hop all the way back to privileged exec mode. Do a copy run start, short for copy running config startup config. Accept that destination file name. Perfect. So I think we're done in the router for the moment. Let's go ahead and close out of that. Look at step 10. It says assign IP addresses to the PCs on each side in the appropriate ranges for the side they are on. Okay, so if we were going to this left PC, that left interface was in this 10.10.10 network. So let's go ahead and just give him an address in there. Let's go with 10.10.10.3. It needs to have the same subnet mask as that router interface for it to be able to communicate. Then it's going to need a default gateway, 10.10.10.1, which is that router interface that's directly connected to it. And that should be good for that computer. Hop into this computer on the other side. This one's going to be in this same network of 2020.20.1. So let's go 2020.20.3. Same subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Default gateway of that router interface closest to us, 2020.21. That should be good. Then it says access the router via SSH from whichever side we choose and do some validation. So since we're already on the right side, let's go ahead and SSH into the router from here. So SSH, we know that the closest router interface to us is 20.20.20.1. And the username of the local account is Cisco. Let's go ahead and connect there. Let's type in our password of Cisco. Look, we can see our banner that we set up. Let's go ahead and get passed into our privileged exec mode. We need a password for that because we restricted it. So validation, display the routing table to make sure both connected networks have been learned. So if we run this command, show IP route, we can see the routing table, and this is going to tell us, hey, I know of this network 10.10.10.0 out of my G001 interface, and I also know of this route 20.20.20.0 that's out of my G000 interface. So it looks like that's good. Next it says display the running configuration. So if we do show run, short for show running configuration, you can see our running configuration right here. See our enable passwords encrypted. Everything looks good. Exit out of that by pressing Q. Alright, so it says finally do a ping test between the PC on the left and the PC on the right. So let's go ahead and hop out of this SSH. Go into our command prompt for this computer. So we're on the right one, so we want to ping that left one that we said was 10.10.10.3. Hit enter. And look, we are successfully talking with that computer across the network. which means that our router is set up correctly for these directly connected networks. Awesome. Alright guys, well that was it for this lab. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you were able to follow along easily enough. I hope you got something out of this. And I hope that you'll stick around for our next video where we'll hop into creating a simple network. So I'll see you next time.